The Kinahans undoubtedly are one of the most dangerous and wicked Irish gang groups in history. As per the recent reports, one after the other, their illegal drug and cocaine export stories are surfacing as they seem to have lost their infinite power in bribing the higher authorities, as also to cover up their own faces by fleeing to other countries. A recent discovery of a €3.85 million cocaine export came to the news, and people are definitely linking the Kinahans for the same. So let us dive deeper into the video to explore their dark secrets further. Here we begin. Gardaí, the Irish police believe two Dublin-based crime gangs joined forces to smuggle €3.85 million of pure cocaine into Ireland. The Garda National Drugs and Organised Crime Bureau and Revenue's Customs Service confiscated the massive stash, ending their plans. At Ringaskiddy Port in County Cork, Revenue's Maritime Unit, drug detection dog Merlin, and Revenue's mobile X-ray scanner discovered the drugs, which were concealed inside the refrigeration unit of a shipping container. According to a Garda spokesman, revenue officers in County Cork, Ireland on April 14, 2023 discovered 55 kg of suspected cocaine with an estimated value of €3.85 million as part of an intelligence-driven operation. The narco-terrorist gangs from Mexico and Colombia used the container made in Ecuador to smuggle drugs into Europe. Investigators think that the drugs, in this case, were intended for the Irish market. As of now, no one has been arrested, but Gardaí and their South American partners are still looking into the matter. According to one source, that seizure resulted from global cooperation, Ireland's presence in South America, and excellent cooperation between Gardaí and Customs. Although it was early, the general consensus was that a few criminal organizations joined forces to import cocaine directly from South America in the shipment, and that Ireland could not be used as a crossing point into Europe. Also, their operation is about disrupting the transport side of the criminal enterprise to get drugs into Ireland. The ability to import drugs directly from South America into Ireland is currently only available to a small number of groups in Ireland, including the Kinahan Cartel, the Family, and the Mr. Big-led mob. However, due to the U.S. government's crackdown on the Kinahan mob, other gangs are now attempting to forge relationships in South America. The GNDOCB is identifying the routes the gangs use for transportation as part of their efforts to stop the flow of drugs into Ireland. When major operations were started at ports like Rotterdam and Holland, the gangs in the past turned their attention to Ireland. Investigators are now determined to identify gang members who masterminded the smuggling operation and are trying to figure out exactly how Kinahan Cartel was associated with it in reference to the prior incidents. Let's look at the first one. Kinahan Cartel was allegedly caught behind €8.4 million drugs haul flown from France to Longford on August 2022. The Kinahan Cartel organized a sizable shipment of cocaine flown into the nation on a private plane and intended to be distributed to a network of local Irish gangs. The €8.4 million seizure by the Garda Drugs and Organised Crime Bureau, the third significant seizure against the gang in less than a month, dealt Daniel Kinahan's company yet another severe blow. Along with the plane's pilot, two men, 40 and 54 years old, lingered in Ashbourne Garda Station in County Meath on suspicion of drug trafficking. The operation began when a light aircraft arriving from Dieppe-Saint-Aubin Airport in France touched down in a commercial airfield in Abbeyshrew, Longford. The cocaine, according to the Gardaí, was taken from the plane and placed in a car, which traveled in a convoy with another vehicle. But DOCB officers in the Low Owel region of County Westmeath stopped the cars with the assistance of armed officers from the Emergency Response Unit. Shockingly, one of them contained a suitcase, some 6 hold-all bags, and 120 kilograms of cocaine. Each vehicle's driver and the alleged pilot who landed the plane in Longford from France were detained. Additionally, homes in Naas, County Kildare, and Waterford City were raided, and detectives removed communication equipment that may be essential to the investigation. Investigators think the 120 kg of cocaine was organized by the cartel and would be sold to several organizations that had contributed money. According to sources, the Kinahan gang is using a nationwide network of gangs for logistics and distribution. It is also said the Kinahan Cartel is solely responsible for this, and is one of the 2 to 3 gangs that could plan for such a large quantity of drugs to be smuggled into this country. They claim that whatever the Kinahans are doing involves a nationwide network of gangs. As a result, They are organizing the wholesale importation of drugs, and this network of gangs has contributed funds to the pot that goes to the Kinahan gang before the drugs arrive. When it gets there, the gangs take control of it so they can move it around neighborhood groups. They also said those drugs weren't just intended for Dublin. They went all over the country, especially in the Midlands. Detectives also raided residences in Naas, County Kildare, and Waterford City, removing communication equipment that may be crucial to the investigation. Sources also claim that the Kinahan gang uses a nationwide network of gangs for distribution and logistics. According to a different source, Gardaí are aware that many have stayed loyal to the Kinahan group, continue to operate on their behalf, and organize shipments to the Irish and UK markets, despite the sanctions in place. Plus, the significant cannabis seizures in recent months can all be traced back to the Kinahans. Divisional drug units nationwide seized drugs worth more than €16.4 million nationwide in the first half of 2022. The DOCB has seized more than €35 million, bringing the Gardaí's total 2022 drug seizure revenue to over €51 million. The operations of the Gardaí have severely disrupted these gangs, according to Detective Chief Superintendent Seamus Boland, head of the DOCB, who also praised the work of international police forces who are collaborating with them. According to the senior Garda, a transnational gang was undoubtedly involved in this seizure. It should be very clear that any drug network that can buy and transport drugs in this quantity to any jurisdiction is operating globally, he said. Chief Superintendent Boland also mentioned how the amount of drugs found shows significant demand in Ireland and Europe. He also cautioned those who use drugs socially about how this fuels the mobs. Boland claims that although most drugs are brought in via ports, this method of smuggling is not new. Gardaí detained 3 foreigners earlier this year at Waterford Airport after they boarded a plane carrying €3.5 million worth of cocaine. Following the seizure of an Irish-owned private jet in Belgium in 2006, heroin worth €10 million was discovered. And this went on. Following this incident in August, another shocking incident happened in February 2023. Inside dramatic €2.8 million drug raid on secret Kinahan Cartel cocaine factory as businessman suspected of running operation. Investigators seized €2.8 million worth of cocaine and €78,000 in cash during the most recent operation against Daniel Kinahan's mob associates. In addition, police, assisted by the Special Crime Task Force, found 2,000 laughing gas containers, a hydraulic drug press, a quantity of equipment for mixing drugs, a money counter, and mobile phones. One of the 2 main targets who had been identified as under the radar was the businessman. The facility was rented from an innocent and unknowing owner, and it is believed that it had been operating for about a year before the GNDOCB teams swooped in. According to a source, the businessman is suspected of managing the facility and playing a crucial logistical role in the criminal enterprise. The location served as a hub for the distribution and mixing of cocaine for an organized crime organization that obtained its supply from the Kinahan Cartel. Before the factory raid, Gardaí in Blanchardstown and Ballyfermot stopped 2 cars and found drugs inside. Each car had a man and a woman arrested inside. At the scene, 6 additional people were also detained. 2 of those who were taken from the drug factory later became freed without being charged and are not thought to have been connected to the cocaine. Before pure cocaine was smuggled into Ireland, police also investigated whether the primary suspects traveled to a European country to meet with Kinahan Cartel members. The investigators are found to be collaborating closely with the Criminal Assets Bureau in their investigation of the Kinahan Cartel factory and the company's financial records to determine what was purchased with the money and also to identify companies that might have been involved in the importation of drugs into Ireland. Even without sufficient evidence, all these incidents clearly signify that the current cocaine bust wasn't just an ordinary one and is quite deeply linked with the Kinahans. What are your thoughts on this? Do let us know in the comments below and subscribe for more.